Hello and welcome back to Netflix Football. Being a Manchester United fan is not at all easy these days, considering all the perspectives at play. Being a staunch Ole in guy, having turned into an Ole out guy with after he lost the plot completely this season. We'll dive into that, all of that, what happened, what went wrong, why the sack was delayed, whom are the possible candidates, and of course the board. How are they more of a virus with what they are doing right now? And to discuss all of that, we have none other than special guest and a new dad, Prashant Bhau. Prashant Bhau, you are live right now. Welcome aboard. I hope daddy duties are making you sleep deprived, but seeing Manchester United, can you sleep peacefully at night right now?
Yeah, man. I mean, I sleep perfect. Like Mourinho said during Real Madrid days, I sleep perfect. I have no issues in sleeping with Manchester United because I've been one of the very few people who has been Ole out for a year and a half too. So I knew this was going to come one day or the other. Just that I didn't expect it to come by now. I expected it to come last year, but didn't happen. Then I was like, he's riding his luck a little too much. But eventually it happened and it had to happen. But all the best for the gentleman because he's been a thorough United fan.
Right.
He's been a great manager for all the clubs he's managed, but Man United tenure has not gone well. Having said that, his last 3 months will never dictate what good he has done in the last 2 years. He's given a club much needed stability, which we were looking for after Jose Mourinho. So all the best for his future tenure. But like I always told you, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is like an Arsene Wenger to me. Thanks for your memories, but it's time to say goodbye. It should have happened last year, but better late than never.
True fact, but let's talk about what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did right. We remember Manchester. We have talked about this, that Manchester United were a laughing stock in the media post the dismissal of Jose Mourinho, and he took a sinking ship. To be honest, he took a sinking ship where we were failing to progress, finish top four, which was the basic requirement, and now finishing out of top four is seemed as a liability, and which ultimately people gave him chances, but mainly we can say that not being in contact with the top four actually led to his dismissal. Right now, Jose Mourinho restored Paul Pogba. He played his best football under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Other than that, he's built a squad which probably handed over to the next manager, which most of you expected. I remember speaking with you with this, that he's reached his par. He's done what he could. There's no shame in what he did. He did things right, but at certain times you just need to pass it over to that level. Okay, we'll take a few comments over here. Onabda says, I think Manchester United need to be supremely careful about hiring the new manager. He needs to be a long-term choice and bring success like Klopp and Tuchel or Thomas Tuchel have. Do you think, on this prospect, and as well as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's good memories, as we want to say it right now, do you think this concept of a long-term exists in management, especially at a club like Manchester United in the toughest league in the world, the Premier League?
You forget Manchester United, you think about any other clubs. I mean, the definition of long term has changed. People now consider 5 years, 6 years as long term, while, at least when I was growing up, a decade was considered a long term. For example, someone like an Alex Ferguson or Arsene Wenger, they were termed as a long term managers because they managed the club for 20 years, respectively, for both of their clubs. So, first and foremost, I don't think even Chelsea fans in their wildest dreams would have even thought that Thomas Tuchel is going to win the Champions League. Right. So, let's put that out very clearly, because the kind of squad what Chelsea had and how they were struggling under Frank Lampard, everyone thought that by far, if we qualified for top four, it's a big achievement for Thomas Tuchel, because the season was really done and dusted. Right. Because they were at that bad kind of a scenario during Frank Lampard. I think he lost out of 7 games he lost 5, drew 1 and won 1, something like that. Then Thomas Tuchel came and just revitalized the squad, and probably the best match Chelsea could ever have. Having said that, you can ask this to any Chelsea fans. If Thomas Tuchel goes on a losing streak for 5 games, is his job going to be safe? Of course not. That's Roman Abramovich. He did not spare Roberto Di Matteo, who was an interim and won the Champions League, and then sacked him mid-season. He sacked the biggest names in world football because for him, Chelsea as a football club is more important than the name of the manager, right? So I don't agree with the Thomas Tuchel narrative. The same is with Klopp and Pep, right? I mean, those two are phenomenal managers, but both of them have their own limitations and the clubs which they're managing right now. For example, Jurgen Klopp has very clearly said that his contract is there till 2024 and he will think about it, and most probably he's going to take a break from football because it's been pretty hectic for him. So that will be 8 years at a club like Liverpool. Then there is someone like a Pep Guardiola, who himself has said 2023 is probably the last year I'm managing, and then again I'm going to take a break. So the definition of long term has surely changed. It's not like what we used to say 10 years, 12 years.
Right.
It's no longer there.
Also, coming into the fact, like Srijan says, discuss the pros and cons of each match. We'll come into that as well. But right now, let's take into account, let's talk about the Glazers a bit, since you mentioned Roman Abramovich and what being an owner should look like. The Glazers have put in a stopgap solution, had put in a stopgap solution in the name of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He overperformed as interim coach, and all of us at that point of time wanted Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Like, it was the missing candy to a kid who was denied some. It's like the very good attacking football after witnessing Jose Mourinho's tactics. I mean that with no disrespect. People have their way of playing, and he's got trophies to show for that as well.
Yeah.
Attacking football, fluid football. The team was smiling. Paul Pogba was performing. Marcus Rashford, everyone, Anthony Martial, whom we had all very good expectations from, carried that over to the next season. Lost out top 4 just by losing to Cardiff and Huddersfield, if I remember. But then he qualified back-to-back Champions League. Signed Bruno Fernandes. Of course, Glazers, why I'm talking about this is the decision to sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should have been done and dusted after the Liverpool mauling. 100%. A staunch Ole in guy like me could not bear the sight of a team that was not even pressing at this point of time against the Liverpool side. Like, Roy, I don't understand the philosophy of Roy Keane, whether that still exists. But against your dearest old rivals, you should at least be putting an effort. Only one man I found putting an effort was Cristiano Ronaldo, who's trying to make runs, and he's done his job. He's done his job. We'll talk about the Cristiano Ronaldo narrative a bit later. But right now, Glazers, one thing that, as we all say, who echoes what the Glazers want to say, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was a perfect candidate for that. Now putting Carrick and Fletcher in charge against a vital opponent in the form of Villarreal, which has a Champions League hopes in future. With this squad, of course. Do you think hiring someone XYZ without taking into consideration the now, the intermediate and the long-term future is like, do you think I'll put it out straight, do you think they'll do the same mistake once again and this cycle will...
100% yes. Why are you so shocked about it? Yes, they're going to make the same mistake over and over again, because they want a manager who's a yes man, someone who's going to say yes to everything, what the owners want to do. So let me put this in perspective. I honestly did not like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's interview when he left. Of course, he wanted to do it so that he could address the fans and stuff. But if you look at the whole interview, right, not one word he's spoken about owners, not one word he's spoken about any problems, not one word he said anything which is what an exiting manager usually addresses, more often than not. He's not said, of course, he's a fan at the club, he's a legend of the club, etc., etc. But the fact is that it left a sour taste in my mouth. As much as I, really love the man, and, I've told you many times, his jersey is one of my it's one of my most prized collections of all my life.
He's a legend at the club. That's undisputable. Exactly. At any point of time.
Let's put this in perspective, that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as a player is different versus Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as a manager is different. So I'm only here going to talk about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as a manager, right? So I wasn't very happy about his term at all, right from his interim days. Yes, of course, we managed the interim days, and I was happy that he was brought as an interim, got the feeling back. He should have let go then only.
Maybe taken a directorial role would have suited him much better.
I would have said he would have been a better as an ambassador role, which he is for his country and the club. That was it. He should not have got into the manager hot seat at all. Now, I'll tell you my reason of why I didn't want him to be at the hot seat, okay? Because I could see that Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp were building dynasties of football club in this nation.
Right.
Okay, which is, since I'm based in Ireland, so it's not much far for me, right? So this is what they're building, a dynasty in the respective countries. I knew that, forget me, any layman would understand that if these guys are getting, there should be someone who would be challenging them. I was hell-bent sure that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was not going to challenge Pep Guardiola or Jurgen Klopp for the dynasties, which means the title will always be between Liverpool and City, two of the most annoying rivals for Manchester United. That's one. So the board should have really looked at it and said, you know what, if these two guys are managing, I need someone who's a heavyweight to match step by step. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was never going to do that. You can pull out the stats and say Ole beat Pep more than other. What trophy have you got? Double trophy? Ole beat Pep. Is that the trophy? Oh my God. Ole beat Marcelo Bielsa, who's the smartest tactician in the world. Really, Marcelo Bielsa is managing Leeds United. I mean, of course, they spent 200 million in the year they came into the Premier League, but you are talking about a club who is a giant in world football, and you are actually celebrating victories where it had Leeds, double over Man City, etc., etc. I mean, the Southampton game 9-0, where Ralph Hasenhuttl, we kind of really mocked Southampton, and we were happy about it, like, oh my God, so clinical. But what happened when we faced Southampton, when we drew them? You suddenly saw, oh my God, this team does not have a structure. Ralph Hasenhuttl, like a surgeon, just opened us up. Systematically opened one by one by one. Okay. And then, unfortunately, last year the 6-2 versus the Spurs happened, and then suddenly we went on a run, etc., 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 whatever. All those sort of stuff changed in world football. Now, my point with Glazers is that in the first year of his interim manager and in the half of his tenure of Ole, he was already given 2 years contract, and then we recently renewed it last start of the season, right? When he was in the 2 years, of course, he's done a job. He's exceeded the expectation. He's got a team. Now it is a time to pass on to the right manager. But, okay, now the problem, what we have this year was not the same last year. Erik ten Hag was struggling with Ajax.
Right.
Okay, because Ajax had sold all of their best players, and suddenly Ajax were looking at a league where they were like, can we compete? Is it possible? All those sort of things. That's when Barca inquired Erik ten Hag, and he said, no, I'm not going to leave. And then they went for Ronald Koeman very famously. Okay, that was the first part. There were top managers who were available. Antonio Conte was still free. I mean, he was still free now. I mean, he was managing Inter Milan, but then the relationship had almost gone kaput in January, and everyone knew that matter of time he's going to leave.
We all knew that Manchester United board was never going to hire someone who's a spokesperson and an
That's exactly
advocate.
the problem, right? Why would you not hire someone like an Antonio Conte? Because he's short term? Bullshit. You're not going to give me that reason. That's because he's going to call you out every time where you don't sanction a transfer or where you see you don't have money. He famously called Roman Abramovich out, man. He said that as much as he cares about the club, he said very famously, as much as he cares about the club, but there are a lot of things which are greater problem for Chelsea Football Club than the owner. And what happened? He was sacked because he was given players which he was not happy to work with. He wanted someone else. He wasn't given. He said, okay, bye, Tata. That's it, I'm done. He's flamboyant, but that's what top managers do. Also understand one thing that, if you are a successful manager, you're going to be rude, you're going to be arrogant, you are going to be cocky. Good guys in football don't last, and they don't win anything in world football. I can give you 10,000 examples of people who are good players, good human beings, good managers, but they're not winners. Absolutely. Famously, Marcelo Bielsa, extremely good guy. We have all heard the story of Marcelo Bielsa still living over a bakery, right? During his Bilbao days, right now at least, and during his Bilbao days, how much he cared about society, etc. Good guy. But what has he won? Dog shit, nothing. But one of the greatest exponents of tactics in world football. Okay, I'll mention names which United managed. Someone like Louis van Gaal, great coach, bad football for us, but absolutely crap human being. He does not like, I don't want to mention certain players from certain continent. He does not like them. He does not play them. He famously benched Lucio, right? We all know he did not have a good relationship with Di Maria. All the sort of stuff. What has Jose Mourinho done? Jose Mourinho won a Europa League, came second with absolutely, I mean, you look at that squad and you are like, Jesus Christ, how did they finish second? Okay. Now people say except Zidane. Let me put this to you in a very simple way. Zidane is ruthless. He does not care about reputation.
Right.
That's what good managers.
He has the bloody reputation. There's nothing to care about.
No, that's more than that. Think about it, right? You drop Bale as soon as his performances are not there. He starts to become bigger than the club. He drops him. He is not bothered about what people are going to say, what the press is say. Oh my God, you paid 100 million for that guy. He just did not bother. And of course, he got a lot of flack for, benching certain players. But then he was absolutely, not bothered about it. Shubham says Wenger was a good human being plus a winner who won last 2002 and then all FA Cups. I'm sorry, I'm talking about relevant managers in world football.
You should have called the board out as well, Arsene Wenger, what he did not.
Yeah, Arsene Wenger, I don't know if Shubham has seen it. Shubham, if you get time, check out Lad Bible, and he famously said to, I think, Ian Wright, he said that he was kept as collateral for the Emirates Stadium, where he said that I am going to sign 5 years. You keep me as collateral. that's not a good guy sign. That's a sign of a guy who's stubborn. He's saying that I'm going to be there with the club. Oh, but anyways, coming back to the whole point that I think this board is again going to mess it up. It's not something new. I will not be shocked if Michael Carrick goes on an unbeaten run for the next 25 games and
we dub him the next Pep Guardiola.
Yeah, and we'll kind of say that Michael Carrick is a true United player, true United legend, cult hero, etc., forever underrated in his life. Now he's doing a great job as a manager, etc., I'll not be shocked.
DNAFC,
so it's as simple as that.
Okay,
yeah, DNFC and Vibes FC.
Coming back to the plot, exactly. Remember the Leeds match? We absolutely rampacked them through. We were on even the pre-season against Everton, we had a very good performance. The team was pressing. It was I remember doing that watch along, and it was very good. It was very brilliant watching United, Bruno Fernandes, and there was a whole mood about this, the prospective Varane signing, which was on the conclusive end. Jadon Sancho had already been purchased, and we were on thinking like, this looks like a bloody squad, and all the gaping holes were being plugged. Cristiano Ronaldo happened from nowhere, and Aditya asked that, and when I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had advocated the signing of Cristiano Ronaldo. It's like a situation where you cannot say no to, because that will damage your reputation. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would have been thrown on the bus the instant he said no to Ronaldo and he went to Man City. That would have been suicide. Correct. And he could not avoid that. With Sir Alex Ferguson also being in a directorial role, somewhat inadvertently made Ole Gunnar Solskjaer build his team around Cristiano Ronaldo. That message to Khabib, there he's always start with Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't think he needs to do that, Sir Alex. But on the whole contrary of things, the signing of Ronaldo absolutely took away Bruno Fernandes, who has been the linchpin of Manchester United and the Premier League. His runs were negated to make space for Ronaldo, because both of them run through channels. The hat-trick against Leeds should suffice. The runs that he made, the balls Victor Lindelof played, everything gone. And Bruno Fernandes, if you remember against Southampton last term, where Cavani assisted Bruno Fernandes, that 3-2 win.
Correct.
He was playing in that shadow striker, more advanced than an advanced playmaker at times when we were causing overloads. And that's how Bruno Fernandes scored most of his goals, inside the box. Now Bruno Fernandes is on a Beckhamish kind of role, drifting wide, searching in crosses. There's just one man in the box capable of heading, Cristiano Ronaldo, who is being shut down. So, how many Cristiano Ronaldo will score you goals? There's no doubt about it. But whichever manager comes in, especially Pochettino, who is being, we'll talk about him a bit later. Do you think the style that we United fans want, like what we see from Klopp, what we see from Pep, fast on pace, where the first man is going to press like a Bobby Firmino, who's going to press the hell out of you, who's not going to give you a rest bite, who's going to make you commit forceful errors. Do you think you can do that with side having Cristiano Ronaldo?
So first and foremost, let's put this in perspective that Cristiano Ronaldo in nowhere has damaged this team. Okay, let's put it out loud and clear.
But
what has damaged this team? No, what has damaged this team is defensive lapses. Okay,
too many individual errors.
You can always win a game if you score a goal. How do you win a football match? You simply by scoring more goals.
Michael Owen would definitely agree with you on that one.
Exactly, right? You win a simple football game by scoring more goals. It's understood. It's Michael Owen's statement. United have conceded more than they have scored. That's why we have a negative goal difference right now. Okay, you look at the Watford game. Okay, I'm going with the Watford game first because that's the most recent one. As soon as what was the third goal? Who scored? Joao Pedro scored the third goal, I think. Yeah.
Right.
So when he scored the third goal, forget we were losing 2-1. That's a secondary story. Okay, I know we already losing. David De Gea saved the penalty, etc., etc. As soon as the third goal scored, any sensible team, okay, even if you're a man down, what do? You drop one of your midfielders and you take him back. You'll play instead of a 5-man, you'll play a 6-man defense, even if it is the last 4 minutes, because the 3-1 humiliation is already low. What did United do?
Went on the attack.
We went to a 2-man defense. Suddenly, Nemanja Matic and Victor Lindelof. I think someone might have told Nemanja Matic that your name is Paolo Maldini and you can do everything on your own. Okay. What happened in the fourth goal? Wide open. The defense was wide open. So Cristiano Ronaldo nowhere has affected this team. Okay. In fact, we should be thankful to Cristiano Ronaldo because we're still relevant in Champions League because of him. Okay. You think about the game against Villarreal, forget the young boys game was just one-off, right? The game against Atlanta. So he's kept this team relevant. Now coming about, style of Manchester United. Under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I didn't know what style we had. I honestly don't know. I think you are a better person to tell me what style we had. I only knew one thing under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, which was very clear, that we are comeback FC. No matter what situation is, we are going to come back because vibes matter here. Individual brilliance took Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to where he was till a certain extent. It was all individual brilliance. You talk about Bruno Fernandes' position in the Southampton game, and now you don't see Bruno Fernandes not doing it. It is not because Ronaldo was signed. It is because teams have figured out Bruno Fernandes saying that, अच्छा तेरे को जगह मिला तो तू पास करेगा ना, तेरे को जगह ही नहीं दूंगा, तू खेल साइड में पास कर, जिसको साइड में खिलाना है क्या खिला. What does Bruno Fernandes do right now? He tries and puts the ball to Luke Shaw. Sadly, Luke Shaw is out of form. What does Luke Shaw do? He again passes to Bruno. Bruno gets caught, and then the opposite team is on counter. As soon as they are on counter, who's there in our defense? Harry Maguire, who's apparently the captain of Manchester United. Okay, I'm not even talking about Fred and McTominay because I'm so done with them. Okay, so when you look at it, it is not Ronaldo who's causing a problem. So let's take that narrative out. But what's causing more problem is the defense of Manchester United, which is the bigger problem, which is the defense. Of course, you don't have Rafa Varane and his absence is affecting everything, which is true. But you also know for a matter of fact that I played as a fullback for most of my life, right? I played as a right back. As a right back, I was always told one thing: you are going to listen to your center back all the time. Okay, both the center backs, you're always going to have 1 ear or to him and 1 ear on the winger, because if you are going on attack, there are going to be spaces, and as soon as there is a space, the center backs have to expand. They have to spread wide,
and the defensive midfielder drops in. That's what happens.
Correct. Either defensive midfielder drops in, or the defensive midfielder tries and covers you as soon as you're on the overlapping, right, so that in case you miss an attack, there is someone who's always going to cover you, or have your back, like we say.
Explanation comes in the form of Jordan Henderson, what he does for Liverpool.
Exactly. Forget Jordan Henderson. Look at what Fabinho does for Liverpool.
Absolutely.
So, for example, when Thiago Alcantara played, there are a lot of times where Thiago Alcantara tries to go for the glory by putting an extravagant ball or trying to carry the ball a lot. As soon as he misses, there is Fabinho who's standing behind saying that it's okay. You don't worry about it. I'm going to clear this mess. I'm going to give you the ball again. Yeah, I'm going to give you the ball again. Do it again. Bruno Fernandes is our version of Thiago Alcantara, where he wants to do the extravagant by putting that big long ball, by putting that 80-yard pass or a 60-yard pass, or putting the ball to the striker. But for that,
the Hollywood
have a system. Yeah, it looks beautiful when it comes on,
right?
But it looks absolutely bad when it does not come on. Sadly for him, in this season, it has not come on. Okay, and I think every player goes through it. Having said all of this, right, I will never say that Bruno Fernandes is a bad player. He's an absolute top class player. He's our modern day version of Frank Lampard. He does everything what Frank Lampard does,
right?
But of course not at that quality. Now the real challenge for Bruno Fernandes from now on is to actually show that, I am a player who's got a different gear to myself.
Right.
That's what Frank Lampard did all his life. What did Frank Lampard do when Chelsea needed to win their first Premier League title against Fulham? He stepped up. He stepped up and said, I'm going to score the 2 winning goals, because of which Chelsea is going to win the first Premier League. Now, Bruno Fernandes, all his antics about don't blame the manager, blame us and all that is all good for Instagram and his PR team. But brother, stand up.
But Bhav, one thing.
Start doing something.
One thing is, like, we saw Bruno Fernandes occupying the midfield position. We remember Bruno Fernandes was the one who went on to press the goalkeeper last season.
Yep.
Right now, whenever there is an offensive transition, he strives wide because he's the crosser over there. Whenever Jadon Sancho
Why do you
not
think
played.
he does so? Because he does not trust Fred and McTominay anymore.
I'm coming there. But suddenly, Fred and McTominay, since the bad results started popping in, the defense line and Fred McTominay central defensive midfield partnership have just halted back a yard, 2 yards, 3 yards. We're not holding a high line anymore. If you see, we held high lines last season, especially against Leeds. We held a very, very high line, and we did that well.
Correct.
But right now, whenever Bruno is out there, out on the right wing trying to cross, forward, the right winger and Mason Greenwood and Cristiano is in the box. Marcus Rashford, whoever plays on the left wing, is trying to hold the width. So Luke Shaw is on a middle ground, on a middle ground. And whenever there is a counter, which often has happened, the midfield is completely open. Completely open.
I have this question for you, okay? What do good managers do? What do top managers do?
Adapt to the...
What is one thing which is common? No matter what the circumstances, they don't change the system. Pep Guardiola, for 1 year, in his first year in Premier League, went trophyless, okay? You can count that Carabao Cup as a trophy, but he went trophyless. But did he change his system?
No. But people
He
also kept
kept
saying
with it. So
saying
just
that.
that's where I'm trying to that's where I'm trying to get to the point and complete your analogy there.
Mhm.
Top managers don't change the system no matter what happens. What does Jurgen Klopp do when he lost famously against Sevilla in the Europa Cup final? He replaced the left back, which is Alberto Moreno, and then got a better left back, which is Andy Robertson. But did his playing style change? No, it was still heavy metal football. It was still the same way.
People
Just that he
also lambast
upgraded
Ole
it.
Gunnar Solskjaer because he had no plan B and he was too rigid on his 4-2-3-1. So,
One, that's exactly my point. One. Second, if things are not working out for you on consistent basis, what do? You change. What did Guardiola do as soon as he realized that, you know what, Ruben Dias looks a little bit fatigued? You know, he's a good player, but I want him for the long run. What did he do, Ruben Dias, 2 weeks back? He just rested him. It's early part of the season. It's
mhm,
still new. But we all say, oh my God, Pep, Rule, and FPL. But he did something smart. He said, I'll rotate.
mhm.
I'll just give him a rest. What does Ole Gunnar Solskjaer do?
Keeps playing on Luke Shaw.
What happened to Harry Maguire? He played how many games last year? 88 games for England and Manchester United. What happened to Bruno Fernandes? Same way, tired. When these players are tired, how do you expect them to step up when it really matters the most?
Mhm,
I remember a famous interview by Thierry Henry. He said that when we went to Champions League with Arsenal, right, it reached a stage where my body just gave up. I wasn't as sharp I was in the Premier League because during that year when they played Liverpool, they were 2-1 down, and then Thierry Henry just ran past Liverpool and they finished the game 4-2, and they went on to become invincibles, etc., etc. But he said they reached the stage where I told Arsene that, you know what, my body is going to give up. I need a break. Arsene did not listen to me. Of course, you know, we went on to the Champions League final and stuff, but had I been a little fitter, had I got a little bit more break, I think we would have won the game. And, you know, of course, the Hens Lehmann sending did not help them, whatever. But that's my point, right? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did not have any plan. So,
in spite of having
how
a good
much ever you want to,
bench strength.
yeah, how much ever you want to direct the whole argument to the players that, you know, it was defensive mistakes, he should have gone, etc., etc. Sometimes as a manager, you are held accountable for it.
He
And
has, and
it reached a stage for me where I was not bothered about what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was doing because he was anyways not going to change. I already knew the lineup even before it came out. Okay, I knew who were going to play because you know, this was the same criticism which Jose Mourinho had. But back then the media lambasted Jose Mourinho, saying that, oh my God, he plays the same 11 week in, week out. But not one word had been said to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You're playing Bruno every day. We saw what Donny van de Beek did in 45 minutes against Watford.
Mhm,
Bruno Fernandes can never do what Donny van de Beek can do. Let's put it that way very clearly.
mhm.
Okay, of course, they're both a very different kind of players,
Right.
but Donny van de Beek has got something which Bruno Fernandes does not have. That is calmness, that is brains, that is intelligence. Okay, Bruno Fernandes is a passionate player who
Mhm,
gets excited by the progress of the game, and his passion takes over him. Sometimes in big games, to unlock opposition, you don't need passion.
mhm.
Okay, you need intelligence. Donny van de Beek has been doing it for years and years and years and years.
Especially with the
Okay,
Ajax system where they're trained to play in
and
every position.
I'll be very wrong. It's a very bold statement what I'm going to make. Ajax is a club which is bigger than Manchester United. Let's put it out there.
Right
We are
now,
the biggest
right now,
marketing club in world, whatever times. Okay, you want to compare history? Ajax has given a lot of things to world football, like Manchester United, but they are a far bigger name. Okay,
as an
Ajax talks
institution.
about football. Yes, Ajax talks about football. Ajax is all about football. Ajax talks about graduation of a player from someone who can play as a left back to a center back to a defensive midfielder to a striker. Marco van Basten started his career as a right back, and we all know what Marco van Basten did later on in his life.
Mhm,
Patrick Kluivert, okay, started as a right winger, then he went on to become whatever he was, you know, a second striker or striker. That's footballing education. Okay, that is a legacy of Ajax Football Club. Keep that aside. You think about Manchester United right now, right? Most of the players who come from a youth system are used to playing a particular way, which is the old so-called United way. 4-4-2, ball milo, cross milega, attack karenge. We
mhm,
still play the same way. There is no change in our system anyways. Think about Mason Greenwood, right?
mhm,
What is Mason Greenwood brilliant at? He is brilliant when you give him the ball on his left leg. He will
mhm,
finish it.
mhm.
What are teams doing right now?
Throwing him onto the right side. Simple.
Exactly. They're saying तेरे को भागना ही है ना, तू राइट में भाग चल.
It's not
जितना
that he
तेरे को राइट
doesn't
में
have.
भागना है भाग.
He has very decent right foot, but
Exactly.
his
Of
reluctance to
course, he's
use that is
ambidextrous.
baffling.
He's ambidextrous. You are spot on. But you see, the player does not have the courage to start using his right leg because he's like, you know what, there is that unsurety in me.
Mhm.
The same unsurety has started to grow into someone like a Bruno Fernandes. Like you rightly said earlier, he used to press. Now he does not, because he's like, if I start pressing,
And I'm
if
caught
I
out of
don't get the
position, then
ball,
we're done.
one, right, a second, they're going to face Fred and McTominay, who anyways can't do either of it. They can't tackle, they can't pass.
Mhm.
Okay, then what happens? They're going to play Harry Maguire. Sometimes he can be a brilliant tackler, or like the Watford game, absolute shit yellow card for the second one. You don't tackle like that, man. You don't do it. Even at my school level, we didn't tackle
Don't
like
even
that.
dribble
Even if we
when you're a
played rough.
defender. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you don't do that. And when you're especially on a yellow card, no chance. You don't do that. You might as well pull someone's shirt and say sorry and then move on, because that's your warning. But what Harry Maguire did was no, not acceptable.
Comedy
So
of errors, really.
that is what we paid 80 million for. So we knew what we were getting into.
Okay, talking about the prospective managers, we talked about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He's gone. Let's start afresh. Right now, let's start with the one who's linked right now, Mauricio Pochettino. He wants United. United wants him. Wayne Rooney, on an interview when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was an interim manager, said that Mauricio Pochettino at that point of time would be the perfect fit for Manchester United. Just a second. But do you think that
Was it your imaginary girlfriend who called you?
no work-related stuff? Anyways,
Go on.
maybe Ole is asking for something, I don't know. People will lambast me because since he's jobless anyway. Either way, coming on after that bit of banter, people will obviously think, what has happened to Neil? This Ole in guy has suddenly turned against him. Come on, Manchester United is what I believe in. He was doing good according to me. I had my philosophies. I kept it respectful. Some of you guys was turned in the disrespect towards me. I don't understand that. But anyway, whatever, beats your drum. Now, I'd like to ask you this, Mauricio Pochettino.
Yep.
Do you think that isn't Mauricio Pochettino going a bit backwards for someone who manages Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe in the easiest league in the world? How would you?
I'll start with a banter comment. So Mauricio Pochettino actually knows who's the biggest goat, right? So he's coming to manage Manchester United. But anyways, jokes apart. But if Man United appoint Mauricio Pochettino, I'll not be shocked. Okay, I'll be very honest with you, because only an incompetent person can see another incompetent person and say you're good. Okay, while the rest of the world will say, dude, you're incompetent, might as well buck up. Okay, right. If you ask me, and so let's say Sam Allardyce looks at me and say you're incompetent, because I am incompetent compared to Sam Allardyce, right? Because I am. But I'm not as good as Sam Allardyce. But yeah, if you ask me, and some guy who manages Football Manager, and then he says that, you know what, I am more capable to lead Man United, I'll be like, yeah, please contact Joel Glazer. You see the levels what I'm talking? The point what I'm trying to tell you is that Mauricio Pochettino is a good manager. He's a great manager. But for a club like Tottenham Hotspurs, where he did a brilliant job, he was good for 3-4 years with them, did a great job with Southampton, absolutely brilliant job with them, and hence he got the Spurs. And that's the reason why Spurs are so relevant right now, and they have supporters club in Mumbai and West Bengal, which for the life of me I would never understand. But anyways, Mauricio Pochettino can manage PSG, do whatever the hell he wants, but please don't come to Premier League once again, because I am absolutely sick and tired of seeing Mauricio Pochettino's name linked with Manchester United. If United wanted to appoint Mauricio Pochettino, right, after Ole's interim term, I would have still given him a shot. I would have still given him a shot, saying that, you know what, he's not that bad a guy, but he may not win anything. Neil, I'll tell you this, and this is not what I say. This is what a guy called Sir Alex Ferguson told in his autobiography. He said, in order to win, you need to know how to win.
Right.
Okay, you need to win it once to know the value of winning, because then you will cherish the loss later. Because the value of a loss becomes huge when you have won so much, and that loss, right, starts hurting you. Mauricio Pochettino has only lost. He's not won anything, right from his Espanyol days to Spurs and to PSG. He's the only guy who have ever seen bottle better than South Africa. I always thought South Africa were the biggest bottlers in world, but no, it is Mauricio Pochettino. You remember the time when Leicester won the Premier League, right? It was a 2-horse race. It was a 3-horse race, and it eventually reached to a point where it was 2-horse, where it became Spurs versus Leicester. All Spurs had to do was go to Stamford Bridge, keep their heads calm, get a draw, and come back, and then go and play the next game.
And this was not a good Chelsea side as what we have right now.
Exactly, and they were struggling. They were famously struggling. The Jose Mourinho incident had happened, Iva Carneiro incident happened, so on and so forth. All he had to do was just get a point, come back, and there are 3 games to go. Take the title till the last. Okay. What did Pochettino do? Bottle it. Of course, his players were out of control. It's a derby. Things kind of happen. But it was his lack of experience which costed them the game. Okay.
Right.
Now people will say, you know what? He took an average Spurs squad to Champions League final. Ajax defeated Real Madrid and possibly one of the best games in world football can ever see, because Dusan Tadic,
Ran riot.
who at Southampton was an absolute crap player, went on to Ajax and has become a top baller. Okay, and took Madrid out of the game. Ajax were very well comfortable against Spurs. But then suddenly a gentleman by the name Lucas Moura, who will never do anything better than that in his life, scored a hat-trick and then Ajax were knocked out.
That was out of nowhere. Out of nowhere.
It was lack of concentration of 15 minutes by Ajax. That's all. It costed them a place in Champions League. Okay. That is what Lucas Moura has done, and he's become a cult hero for Spurs. What happened in the Champions League, Neil? Do you remember the Champions League?
The final.
Yes, 90 minutes of shithouse football, because
they were absolutely dominated. We were falling asleep at one point of time.
Yeah, Liverpool, like Roy Keane famously said, it was men versus boys. Liverpool showed that we are the team to beat. There is a reason why we are the champions, and you guys can sit. Klopp schooled him. Okay, Klopp literally schooled him. If you say that, oh my God, their team is not as good as what Liverpool was, you reach a Champions League final, right? So supposedly your team is good. You don't reach a Champions League final if your team is not good. Of course, luck can help you here and there, but overall you did a good job. The same team, a couple of years later, of course, Bayern Munich came and Serge Gnabry loves England, and we saw what happened in that game. He took them apart.
It was the very next season.
Correct. It was just next season, and then we literally saw the same Spurs team disintegrate into pieces, right? So my whole thing with Mauricio Pochettino as a manager, he's a good manager, top manager, one of the few bright shining stars in world football, who I really think that he can do much better in world football, but not at Manchester United.
He needs to take an intermediate step. Then maybe we can think about it. All right.
More than intermediate step, right? More than intermediate step. I think he is not cut out for big clubs. He is not good enough for big clubs. There are some players who are not good enough for big clubs. Are you trying to tell me that you're going to appoint Sam Allardyce as a manager of a club like Liverpool? No. Sam Allardyce is a manager of a Real Madrid? Of course not. There are some managers who are not cut out for big clubs. Mauricio Pochettino is that.
Coming on to the name that everybody wants at this point of time is Erik ten Hag, of course. Ajax, as you brilliantly mentioned, their institution and the love for football. Erik ten Hag at this point of time is unavailable, but sources tell me that he might be interested, and he's very interested upon if he's called upon in the summer. His contract is up at 2024, and he might very well, and the relationship we have with Ajax, definitely that would be, there would not be...
That would be sour right now.
Exactly, with what he has and that promise with the eye, and what the run he is at this point of time is much better than having a disjointed Manchester United with no funds to be able to spend in this particular year or this January window. Talking about Erik ten Hag, of course, we saw how he interprets space, right? That his biggest asset, that he knows where the space would be. It's just telepathic at sometimes, but in a Premier League, where a team like Southampton, I remember the graphic last term where Southampton were number one in closing down spaces. Chelsea have improved, Liverpool have improved, the likes of Leeds United fallen down, but they're still there. It's not that they have degraded. Other teams have improved. Where you do not find any space, right? Can Erik ten Hag take this Manchester United side, who does not seem willing to press, and turn them into a machine with what, like, as you famously mentioned, dynasties, what they've created? Is Erik ten Hag the right choice from fans' perspective?
If you personally ask me who's the right choice, then there is no right or wrong answer to it. Okay, we can all say that Zidane is a perfect choice, this guy is a perfect choice, that guy is a perfect choice, etc., etc. But the fact is that no one knows who's the first choice. No one knows who's a good choice at the end of the day, because there are a lot of things which can go wrong in world football. And one of them is appointing a manager, which Manchester United are expert in screwing it up, and we screw it up in style. Okay. But what I know with Erik ten Hag is that at least my team will start having an identity. Okay. Erik ten Hag will bring an identity to this Manchester United team, which is what they need. Forget winning the trophies, that's a far-fetched thought right now for me, because right now I just want identity to my Manchester United team. Okay.
Mhm.
And I know for a matter of fact that Eric Ten Hag will get me that identity, what I need.
Mhm.
Now, in terms of his playing style, his technique, etc., etc., I really think he's a flexible enough coach to figure out what can work for this team and what cannot work for this team. Okay, that's understood. It's not something which I don't think he's not smart enough to understand.
Mhm.
And also, Neil, let's put this in perspective. You don't need to be a pressing team to keep winning football matches.
Mhm.
Okay, you can win football even by not pressing. You can sit down and you can park the bus and you can still win football matches. Yes, it may not be appealing to the eye, but you can still win games. I'll tell you why and I don't know if you can dig up any previous lives where where Ole Gunnar Solskjaer suddenly faced the sack and then miraculously he got saved. Where I still said sack him and get Eric Ten Hag ASAP,
Mhm.
because Eric Ten Hag was going through a dire time at Ajax. Because remember, who did Ajax lose in 2019 transfer window? Okay, I'll tell you the name of the players. They lost Frankie De Jong for what, 75 odd million to
Mhm.
Barcelona.
Mhm.
Okay, they lost their
Matthias de
defender
Ligt.
Maximilian Wober. Okay, for 10 million. Okay, they lost Delict for 75 million.
Mhm.
They lost, I think, Casper Dolberg also. They lost. They lost Lasha Shona
Mhm.
for 1.52 million to, I think, Genoa or someone like that.
Mhm.
They lost a lot of good players. Okay, and who did they actually sign? Not a lot of great players. They signed Ryan Babel for free in the Jan window
Mhm.
from, I think, Galatasaray or someone like that. They signed Quincy Promes from Sevilla. Okay, who was also a Netherlands guy. They signed Lisandro Martinez, who's the center back right now, for 7 odd million. They signed a midfielder in Razwan Marin from
Mhm.
Standard Liège for 12.5 million, etc., etc.
Mhm.
Okay, so they invested smartly, and the whole season wasn't something great for them. Okay, Quincy Promes scored some 12, 15 goal. Tadic had some 16 assists or something. So they were knocked out of the group stages of the Champions League.
Mhm.
They finished first in Eredivisie, if I'm not wrong, or whatever. But the fact is that Eric Ten Hag rebuilt, and he rebuilt very quickly. Of course, the Dutch league is no competition to the Premier League when you compare with the other kind of things what you look at.
Mhm.
But my point, what I'm trying to tell you, is that he knows that sometimes it is only the system which can always help you.
Mhm.
Okay, and the players are just addition of what it was. Okay.
Makes
What Eric
sense.
Ten Hag brilliantly does over the years is that he's got a system which is a 4-3-3, okay, or a 4-2-3-1 and a 4-3-3 hybrid
Hybrid.
of it. Sometimes it becomes, yeah, it becomes a diamond in midfield, where if you look at how the teams are structured, Daley Blind suddenly goes from left back to a center defensive mid where he sits on the top and then he starts spraying balls, etc., etc. Then there is Lisandro Martinez. Suddenly it becomes a three-man backline, and then there is Anthony Sebastian Haller, who had a nightmare time at West Ham, but is one of the best players right now in Eredivisie, and also possibly one of the best strikers in world football right now because of his goal scoring record.
Mhm.
Over the years, he's not changed the system. Ajax have not changed their system. Frank de Boer famously managed Ajax for 6 years from 2010 to 2016. They enjoyed great success then.
Mhm.
And then Eric Ten Hag came a couple of years back and he's rebuilt Ajax. And Ajax play football in style. We all know it, right? Ajax play in style. You can ask Real Madrid what style it is, because you have to be really special to beat a midfield of Casemiro, Cruz, and Modric. You cannot beat by an individual brilliance.
Mhm.
Let's put it in perspective.
Mhm.
And you definitely cannot beat a Real Madrid team managed by someone great with a team of stalwarts like that by just vibes. You need to have a proper system to beat it. Ten
Yeah.
Hag does it. Can he
So,
do it at Manchester United? Yes, he can. Of course he can. But will he be able to do it with this board around? No, he won't, because he will not get the players of his choice. He will have to struggle. He will have to adjust a lot. But then that's the challenge of a manager, right?
mhm.
How much can you adjust?
Talking about adjustment, Zinedine Zidane came as crisis management for Real Madrid and
Mm,
then went on to create history, winning three back-to-back Champions Leagues. No one has ever
mm.
won the Champions League back-to-back, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Uh,
No one has ever. You're right.
him coming to Manchester United has been halted as per rumors because his wife doesn't want to, and
Yeah.
he doesn't want to learn a foreign language. I would think that is all hogwash. It's just that he's not ready for a managerial job, and he'll have a lot more options come the summer transfer window. Coming to Manchester United at this point of time is crisis, pressure, and negligence from the board. But Keeping that all aside, do you think Zinedine Zidane in the Premier League would make Manchester United be what Manchester United stand out for? Because he's been a
Neil,
name
no one
linked.
expected. Yeah, no one expected Pep Guardiola to do this in the Premier League. We all said tiki-taka football works in La Liga. Premier League is a different beast. You can't do that. Pep Guardiola did it, right? I mean, I was on the few people who said that I don't think Pep Guardiola is cut out for Premier League because the football here is too fast. His tiki-taka needs a lot of space, lots of organization. I don't think he's going to get that in Premier League. But what has he done? He's made a system for himself, and he's developed a system where teams fall prey into that system, and then he plays football the way he wants to play. Okay, everyone else is more often than not chasing Pep Guardiola's team because they're always in the front foot, right? Zinedine Zidane, if you ask me as a choice, right? Personally, I wouldn't want him. Of course, he's a great manager. You know, if in terms of my preference, right, it always is Eric Ten Hag, Zidane, and then Pochettino. Sadly, but yeah,
Lack of options.
sadly. Yeah, I only have 3 options and I had to put him, so I'll put him there.
This
right?
is how Bengali people get married, if you're interested in knowing the process. Anyways, continue.
But you should know it by now. But anyways, I'll not get into that deeper. But
No, I'm a bit more analytical. That's why I'm single. Anyways.
I wish your
Come on, stop
people in
making
the
this
state-
out of my because this show out on my life, because I've already hated.
No, I was just trying to say that I really wish the people of a state were a little analytical as well. But then it's okay. we all make mistakes. So did the nation.
Exception
But,
proves the law.
Yeah. But having said that, right, my point with Zinedine Zidane is that Zinedine Zidane is a brilliant manager. Okay, let's really not kid ourselves. And all the fans were saying that he's an individual brilliant manager. Ronaldo took that team to 3 Champions League. He did black magic at Kalighat and etc. to get his team won. And
You
all
know
and
that
whatnot.
place well. You know that place well.
Yeah, I definitely know the place well because I've had a lot of good conversation on Facebook groups where people said, yeah, he's doing black magic on a Friday night so that his team wins because they won Champions League literally that manner according to people, right? But having said that, right, I honestly think Zidane is cut out for a role with the French national team.
Right.
I
And he wants that. And he wants that. To be honest.
And if I was personally Zidane, right? I mean, I played for 2 of the biggest clubs in world football, which is Juventus and Real Madrid. I'm not counting Bordeaux because he was there for 4 years and then he moved to Juventus for 5 and then he was at Madrid for 5. But he's a legend at 2 of those clubs, which is Juventus and Madrid, right? And then I went on to become an assistant. Then I became a manager at Castilla. I was in charge of the board, managed the club, came out of retirement, managed the crisis, won, and then went back again, etc. All those sort of things. Right. So Zidane is perfect for a French national team. I honestly don't buy the rumors that he's going to PSG because he's honestly a Marseille guy, right? He's been a thorough Marseille guy in and out. I'll not be shocked even if he joins PSG, but I think the realistic chance of him going and managing the French national team is more ideal because Didier Deschamps is going to go after the World Cup, right? Zidane coming into the team, managing a fresh set of lot makes more sense to me rather than him coming to Manchester United. Personally, if I was Zinedine Zidane, right, I would sit and evaluate and think, there is Rafa Varane, there is Ronaldo at Manchester United and a club who is in absolute dire needs. The challenge is fun, but do you really think I need to go to this whole grind of doing it all over again when I've already done that for Madrid twice, went out, came back again, did it again. I almost won the league title. I lost in the last 10 minutes of the league, whatever, what happened last year. Should I really go back and do this and put my family through all of this again? No.
Correct me if I'm wrong over here. No manager, no player or a manager who has been a player has won the Euros, the World Cup, the Champions League. I don't think any manager has done it being a player and a manager. Zinedine Zidane might just have his sights on that prize. Don't you think so?
It's a very interesting combination what you said, and also just to correct what you said, Zinedine Zidane has won as a player, Didier Deschamps has won as a player and a manager. I think Franz Beckenbauer has won as a player and a manager, and Mario Zagallo has won as a player and manager. So
all
three, four
the three.
Yeah, all the three, including Deschamps has won the World Cup as well, by the way, just to add on to it. So that's a different story. I'm not going to get into the trivia part and then try and tell you, what's possible and not. But I honestly think the challenge, and if you want to really persuade someone and join Manchester United, right, not worth it.
Exactly. Exactly.
But I also respect his family's feelings and his resistance to learn English. And also, trust me when I'm saying this, for anyone to learn French, it's a very difficult language. For people like us who's been living out for quite some time, we know a lot of French people. And when we speak to them, right, understanding French is very difficult. And so is speaking French. For them to learn English, right, it is as good as you and me learning a country's language which we have absolutely no idea about, and whose goods we've banned in India and all this sort of stuff. So anyways, jokes apart, but I really respect his feeling or his family's feelings of not moving to England. I'll not be very shocked if Zidane says that, no, I'm not interested for Manchester United. In 6 months time, he says that I want to manage the French national team. I'll not be very
That
shocked.
makes much more logical sense. But what makes no logic at all is Ralph Rangnick, who's available, who wants to be interim manager and then moved on to the directorial role. It should be a no-brainer right now, shouldn't it?
No-brainer that he should not join the club, or he should join the club?
He should join the club, of course, and call out the Glazers, which will not happen. That was I was expecting from you. Anyways, go on.
No, so there are a lot of people who said, "Arey yaar, ye kaun hai Ralph Rangnick? Abhi naya kahan se aaya?" And the worst part is people kind of open Wikipedia and they say, "Arey ye to sporting director hai Lokomotiv Moscow ka, isko management ke bare mein kya malum?" So for people who don't know actually who Ralph Rangnick is, there are certain guys by the name of Jurgen Klopp. There is a certain guy by the name of Thomas Tuchel. There is a certain guy by the name of Roger Schmidt. They all said that they learned the basics of football from a guy called as Ralph Rangnick. Okay, he is the visionary behind a term called as when a team loses possession, you have to run and win back immediately rather than falling behind, make patterns and then make spaces and then process the space and then go on. That tactic is called as G-gen pressing.
Right.
Ralph Rangnick is the pioneer of G-gen pressing. It was him who famously got Valery Lobanovsky's tactic of pressing. Okay, if for people who don't know a lot of football tactics and etc., so on and so forth, right? There is this YouTube channel called as the Coach's Voice. Okay, the Coach's Voice is a YouTube channel where a lot of budding coaches under FIFA, right? They invite various guests and they speak on football and tactics and their vision. What do they think, etc., etc. I'll probably share it somewhere. Ralph Rangnick famously talks about G-gen pressing and how Klopp's G-gen pressing is very different to Thomas Tuchel versus Pep Guardiola. Not exactly Pep Guardiola's system, but he touches upon it. Right. Ralph Rangnick is a master tactician. Okay, he's been called as the professor in German because he learns the game so much, he evolves the game so much. Apart from that, his managerial tenure include he is known for identifying talent out of nowhere. Okay, he got a certain Roberto Firmino, then he went on to manage Leipzig. He managed brilliantly for Leipzig, but then they were drawn against, I think, Salzburg, Celtic and Rosenborg, but they finished third in the group stage. And his second term was not as great as what it was, but out of 38 games they won 29 games and 13 draw, something like that. So it was a decent enough term, but then by the time he had a syndrome called as exhaustion and then kind of just left. Then he moved on and became the sporting director at Lokomotiv Moscow. Ideal situation for United, yes, please come and manage my club for interim. Okay, even for 6 months or 6 months, get a system right and then move to the directorial place and then move on and etc., etc. He was the guy who was going to Arsenal a couple of years back,
right?
And then he was very intelligent enough to understand that that's not the club which I want to go because the owners there are different to what I want from football. So he did not choose Arsenal at the end of the day. But I will be very shocked if he comes to Manchester United because Arsenal owners still understand there is a club which starts by the name Arsenal, right? They know the value of the club. Our owners understand marketing gimmicks, and like Glazer famously said, right, we signed Ronaldo when he was 16. So that's the knowledge of our owners.
Oh, tough times being a Manchester United fan. Of course, Manchester United go up against Villarreal in a do-or-die Champions League game, especially for both of the teams with Carrick and Fletcher.
Yeah,
Would
if
you,
I think if we draw it, we are safe, and then we expect the other results to go around.
right, we cannot go and buy football by that. Would you be shocked if you see Carrick and Fletcher field Scott McTominay and Fred in midfield? Like, would you
No,
have lost faith in football if that happens?
no, because I saw Carrick's press conference today, and Carrick said that my football and my ideology is a lot influenced from Ole as well, because they've been together with each other for the last 5-6 years, and 9 years he knows the player, and his ideology is same. So I will be very shocked if Fred and McTominay don't start tomorrow.
How can a coach be sacked and not his coaching staff? What's the logic in
that
there?
is called as that is called as incompetency, or in other words, we can also call it as the ruling party. But whatever, I'll not get into that. But yeah, it is always the ruling party that makes the decision, right?
By incompetency, you mean Jadon Sancho playing on the red in the right wing?
By incompetency, I mean that a guy called as Donny van de Beek introduced for 45 minutes, running
Orange,
the show.
anyways. Go ahead.
And knowing that he's changing the game, but then because of a red card, then you suddenly put him deeper, and then you just look at it and say, really, you could have put Bruno in center midfield and Donny as a number 10, because he's starting to find spaces in that game very quickly, which only Ranieri could see from outside, and then Ranieri started telling Tom Cleverley to close down Donny van de Beek and not give him space. But Michael Carrick, with his visionary passing, which put the famous goal under Roma, could not see it.
I don't know what is happening at this moment of time. I don't know what will be the lineup tomorrow. If the more of the same play, I don't know.
I'll tell you the lineup tomorrow if you want. I'll tell you the lineup right now. I can bet a lot of things on it. Okay, it'll be David De Gea at the goal. It'll be Luke Shaw as left back. It will be Harry Maguire, because since Harry Maguire cannot play Chelsea, it will be Harry Maguire. It will be Eric Bailly who will start today, not Lindelof. Okay, I have a feeling that it will be Eric Bailly, because Carrick, over a period of time, always liked players who are a bit explosive and a bit flary. Okay. Right back, of course, there is only one right back at Manchester United, which is Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Diego Dalot plays marbles, so he will not start him. Then it will be Lothar Matthäus and Claude Makélélé, two of those two guys together, according to world football. But anyways, then the front three.
He meant Fred and McTominay, by the way.
Yeah, of course, Fred and
For
McTominay.
people who don't know Matthäus.
I took the wrong names. Their actual name is Lothar Matthäus and Claude Makélélé. But anyways, and then on the left wing, there will be Marcus Rashford, who I think is fit enough to start from tomorrow. Then there is going to be number 10 by the name of Bruno Fernandes. Then there will be Jesse Lingard who will start, I think, because his contract is up for extension, right? You can't let him go for free. Usko bhi khush karna padega na. Election bhi aa raha hai beech mein to usko de denge start. And then, of course, Mr. Champions League will start up front.
I'm going to cap this. I'm going to screen record this and put it when the lineup comes out. So people on Dream 11, you
but
can...
having said that, right? Having said this also, it is quite possible that Carrick might bring in a brand new lineup only, saying that, "Arey yaar, main wo nahi karunga jo Ole kiye nahi to mere ko bhi bhaga denge ye log." ठीक है, वो भी possible है, by the way.
Nobody knows who's playing for its Manchester United or their coaching careers. I don't know. Sujan says, I think Sancho will be there. What difference does it make? I don't understand anymore.
Who's Sancho? Who is Sancho? Oh, you mean Erling Haaland's best friend? Okay. He was good at Dortmund. Let him be there. I don't know why did we get him there and all that.
Oh, my headphone just fell off with the apparent frustration that we have. It's been a very eventful session, close to 1 hour. Van de Beek. Thoughts about Van de Beek? Would you start?
You would have to be absolute mad to not start Donny van de Beek tomorrow,
especially against a pressing team like Villarreal.
Exactly, and you are going to get a guy who's everything what that game needs tomorrow, who's able to unlock Unai Emery's complex structure in the center where it is very difficult to break down. Donny van de Beek is an expert to break it.
Especially, I'll cut you on that. Especially if you remember the Leipzig match, which we thrashed them 5-0. Donny van de Beek was a star performer, and Villarreal operates similarly, especially closing down the spaces, maintaining the blocks, where Donny van de Beek is an expert of finding the space and making the space. Bruno cannot do both, but Donny van de Beek does that very simply, and makes that look simple. No brainer.
I think I'm going to tweet on Twitter something like that, Donny van de Beek's photo, and then say he starts or we riot, something like that. So definitely something like that. Donny van de Beek has to start. There is no way why you are going to bench him. So does Jesse Lingard. I think tomorrow we need an entirely different lineup rather than the one which played at the Watford game, because a lot of things have gone wrong, right? So, for example, if I was going to start, it'll always be David De Gea at the goal. I don't trust this gentleman called as Dean Henderson. He cannot play for Manchester United as of now, so it has to be David De Gea. On the right back should be Dalot. On the left back should be Telles, because those guys would be itching to go into the game, right? On the center backs, I would start Lindelof and Harry Maguire, both of them, and I would start both of them because they both complement each other well. Then I would go for a 4-3-3 kind of a structure where I would start Nemanja Matic, Donny van de Beek, and Bruno Fernandes.
Both playing as number 8s.
Yes, both playing as number 8, because Matic alone can't do the job. Donny can do both the jobs. Bruno is not in the form of his life, right? So you might as well give him a secondary role in tomorrow's game. Right, and on the front, right, Ronaldo in the mid, Ronaldo in center, Marcus Rashford on the left, and Mason Greenwood on the right. No Sancho for me. Not Sancho tomorrow.
Edinson Cavani.
I'll not start Sancho. Sorry.
Edinson Cavani ahead of Cristiano Ronaldo.
Edinson Cavani is not fully fit for the game. He said that they'll have a late fitness, but I'm considering as good as out for him, because it said that it will take somewhere around 3 to 4 weeks for him to get back to fitness. But yes, if he's fit, 101%, it should be Cavani and Ronaldo together.
Have to wait and watch what happens. All of you have tuned in. Thank you so much. Do leave a subscribe to the channel. If you want to donate, you can do so on the numbers below. I will help in probably severing Ole's compensation. Maybe buy a pint for myself and Prashant Bhau as well, because we've been enduring a lot. Hatred, abuse, and then this performance. Like, those three things don't need to happen at once at your life.
Hatred, abuse, but never ignored.
It's always in the news. We cannot not justify that. People.
Yeah, only Samuel Lockhurst is banned here. No.
Anyways, wow, it's been a pleasure having you on in the midst of all of what's been happening. You've been busy, I've been busy, and I promise to bring you content as soon as possible. I've started a new project as probably you can say as a CEO, but not like Ed Woodward, but of a food brand, which I need your support as well. So do go follow that as well on Facebook. Wow, thank you so much. Lovely to invite you on my restaurant when you come to Kolkata. But right now, I think you're better off.
It depends, man. It depends. If I come with Zidane, you know where I'm going first, and then I'll come to your restaurant later.
Anyways, wow, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, man. Bye-bye. Take care.
Good night. That was Prashant Bhau with all his expertise, exuberance, and the know-how of what the whole situation is been upon. It's dire. It's not Eric Dyer, but it's dire at this moment of time. It will be. And Sijan says, thanks to you for tuning in, by the way. It is tough. It is tough being a Manchester United fan, especially with the squad we have. It's not that we're underdogs. We should be performing. It's not that we're underperforming. We're disastrous at this point of time. I lost faith on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the Southampton match when we were run over with nobody in midfield. They play a 4-4-2, which is non-existent in this Premier League genre. But let's hope in the next manager who comes in, surely not Carrick and Fletcher, in the next manager who comes in, be it Pochettino, be it Eric Ten Hag, be it Zinedine Zidane, I don't care. I'll be rooting for them because he's my manager after all. I rooted for Jose Mourinho, I shouted my heart off for him, shouted for David Moyes, shouted for Van Gaal. I did the same for Ole, as you all know, as you all seen, as you all publicly seen, did not see what happened before. I shouted my lungs off for Jose Mourinho. But right now, next, whoever comes in, he is my manager. Thank you all for joining in, wishing you a good night. But then again, do subscribe to the channel. I've not been able to put content daily. So a share to this video among your friends and peers would be absolutely amazing. Do donate to the channel as well. As I said, would fund some Arsenal fans onto the way to see, what's that guy name keeps on saying, blood cat, troops. Because probably he's the manager we need at this moment of time. I don't know what I'm speaking right now. I'll leave you to it. Tomorrow is the watch along for Villarreal versus Manchester United. Keeping fingers crossed. I never want my team to lose for any sake. Whoever is at the dugout, whoever are the players, the badge matters to me most. And it should be like that in football. Thank you all for tuning in. This is Neil. Wishing you audio for now for Netflix football. See you tomorrow at the watch along. Do tune in. Bye bye for now. Take care. And let's hope this all comes to an end. Bye bye. Salute.